Welcome to the Soul Tribe Podcast. The Soul Tribe Podcast was created to help you navigate through the world of spirituality, wellness, and self-development in an easy, grounded, and relatable way. We break down everything from the Akashic Records, manifesting, spirituality, and so much more. We want to help expand your boundaries and bring the spiritual world to you in a fun and easy way. Get ready to be inspired with tips, tools, and easy to digest information. Let's do this.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Soul Tribe Podcast.
Welcome back.
We actually thought of this idea yesterday by mistake for today's episode.
I love it.
Like by mistake or by divine coincidence.
By happenstance.
And I was in the kitchen, right? And I was like in the middle of either cooking or cleaning. And you were on the couch with Aurora, and we were talking about...
Probably eating ice cream. Because I eat a lot of ice cream these days.
But anyways, we were talking about all the planets going into retrograde. And I don't know what I was asking Lorena, what we were saying. And I was like, oh my God, do you realize that this aligns with the cosmic plan that I've been talking about? We need a total new episode about this. So here we are.
And this time we were smart. Because I'm going to tell you guys what happens, and this is for anybody that's going to start a podcast or has any creative ideas, write your ideas down.
Yes.
Because the amount of times we've had an idea, we did not write it down, and it just didn't happen. We lost the idea or the concept, and then we never talked about it.
The other day I was in bed.
So bad.
And it was like 2 a.m. And I was like, yes, we need to speak about that. That's amazing. And I was thinking I'm never going to forget it because it was so good, right? It was so good. I was so excited. And I'm like, okay, back to sleep. And then the next day I was in the car with Lorena. I was like, Lorena, I had an amazing idea, but I can't remember it anymore.
That happens to me all the time. So now we have this thing. I'm like, Lou, don't even send me a voice note. Write it on it, like message me, write it down, or we write it on our notes on our phone.
Yeah.
Because it's gotten really bad.
Yeah.
But we've been really good the last couple of weeks. So anyway, this all kind of started, I think, because I saw a couple of things. You
were talking about people breaking up, famous people breaking up.
Yes, because I saw a couple of videos on social media, and I follow a lot of people that talk about astrology and more about the astrology alignments. Like I love Chani Nichols, right? I think that's her name. And a few other people that are just kind of just people on TikTok and Instagram. And they talk a lot about the planetary alignments and what's going on and what really, obviously being Taurus and having so many, even my Venus is in Taurus. Lots of stuff is in retrograde right now. There's a couple or coming into retrograde. But I wanted to focus on Venus being in retrograde. So technically, Venus will be in retrograde in Leo from the 22nd of July until the 3rd of September. And
so it's already there once this episode comes out.
Yeah, once this episode's out, this will have started. But we always see the energy of it start even 5 to 7 days before.
And it already is very...
Because we'll see that even with Mercury retrograde, right? Yeah. Days before things are already... We always have to be kind of on our game. We have to be making sure we read through things like with Mercury, with Venus. It's a different energy, obviously, but with anything retrograde, it's kind of going more inward. It's starting to look at things from a different perspective. So to me, it's interesting also how this reflected on somebody mentioning, like you said, there's a lot of breakups probably being announced, or we might not find out about them until later, but it's happening now.
Yeah.
Because all of this energy is asking us to go more inward, to focus on ourselves, I think it's kind of like this, seeing our triggers and figuring out what's not working and releasing things that just aren't for a higher good, right? I kind of looked this up a little bit because I wanted to sometimes I have a hard time putting things into words, right? And I looked up, like, how does this Venus in retrograde affect people? And it's triggering self-reflection and asking us to reconsider our needs and desires when it comes to intimacy.
Well, let's talk about that for a second before we keep going.
Yeah.
So that's really important because that could look like you standing up for yourself. That could look like you realizing maybe you want something different. that could be you realizing you deserve something else. Or that could be you realizing that you're on a path and maybe the person that's been accompanying you is no longer on that path. It could be so many different ways, right?
Yeah.
It could be reflecting as in I need something else, or I need to be alone maybe even for a while. Could be that.
And I think it is a time for us to sometimes decide that for some people, right?
Yeah.
To be like, right now I need to focus on my needs, on giving myself what I haven't been able to get from a relationship possibly, or relying more on yourself for whatever it is that you're feeling. And this could be more in the intimacy realm, or to me it also feels just in what makes you feel good, right?
Yeah.
What brings in comfort, what brings in peace, what brings in a sense of home. Yeah.
And it also, for me, it's a lot of like self-valuing. That's the internal stuff you're saying, like going in, like valuing yourself more, expecting something from your life, or realizing this is what I want in my life, and I need to kind of shift the way I'm doing it maybe, or kind of shift my focus, and maybe it's being alone for a while, or maybe, because we're talking about Venus from a place of love, right?
Yeah.
We could be, a lot of people think Venus and they think relationship, but it could be family members.
Or self-love or family.
Yeah. It could be like your family's demanding too much of your time and you're like, no, wait, I need to put myself first. So it's like, that's the internal reflection with that relationship that is your family. It doesn't have to be a partnership, but it does reflect in the relationships that we have. And one of those could be affecting the relationship as in your partner.
Yeah. I think also the self-reflection can mean, like you were saying, so many things. It means different things to different people because you might be in different parts of your life.
Yeah.
But I think it's also, to me, this retrograde is a lot about getting rid of ideas or concepts, especially from the ego stance of what you felt your life should look like at this point in your life. Because remember, and I think I'm getting like goosebumps saying this, there's this sense of like so much societal things of where we should be at a certain age in regard to being in a relationship or being married or having kids or whatever that is. And now it's like that introspection and that kind of the retrograde energy is allowing us to take a step back and say, actually, what is it that I want? What do I desire? Yeah. We can only create the life that we want from our own desires. It cannot come from anybody else's, be it social in the sense of society, or our families or the people around us. Like, we have to define that, but we can't do that if we're constantly being triggered. We need to take a step back from that. So I think it's a really interesting time for us to really focus on our well-being in general.
I think it's really important to say now, since we talked about separation, internal work, there's no bad guys here.
No.
Because everything that comes into your life is trying to teach you something or put more value on yourself. It could be you keep bringing into your life, because a lot of people talk about toxic relationship, right? So I think it's a good thing to cover. Like, let's say that you realize that you keep bringing into your life these toxic relationships. It could be that that's something that is brought into your life because it's the universe trying to help you put value into yourself, or be like, dude, by the way, you never took care of yourself, or dude, by the way, you always depended so much on other people, or hey, by the way, you don't think you're so good looking, so you think you should be treated this way, or whatever it is. I'm just giving random examples. But it's like, just remember that there's no bad guys here. That we talk about like resonance in an episode, right? Mm-hmm. It's like the energy of like, what do I need to like surpass now? What do I need to realize that I need most? And no one can improve your internal world, only you can. The universe wants you to do that. So it's going to send you people that's going to help you clear that out. And once it's cleared out, then you can find something that balances with your new state, which is cleared out.
Yeah. And I think it is true. We do create our own reality. It's even certain things that have been happening in my life. And Lou and I've had we have a lot of conversations back and forth. And I already realized this, but she said it. And I think I started to think about it in a different perspective of like, for me, it's always been hard. I've talked about this on the podcast, and this is a little bit off topic, but I want to say this because maybe some of you resonate with this, especially when we're talking about our own needs and desires and wants. And for me, it's very hard to know what I want and desire, because I think I've been so in this energy of putting my energy out to people please or to make sure that everybody around me is okay, that it's hard for me today to sit in my body and say, this is what I want so, so, so bad. It's like my it's so weird. It's very hard to explain, but it's like I'm always brushing things off internally. It's like, yeah, I don't need this. Oh no, that's fine.
It becomes
okay.
like a new normal or something.
It becomes, yeah, and then it's like you can't manifest or co-create if you're not in the energy of you knowing exactly what you want.
It's so funny, guys, to see from the outside as her sister, because you can see the universe slapping her in the face and going, make a decision already, Lorena.
It's true. But sometimes, in my case, I know I have to get clarity on that, and it's okay to be in moments where you're not clear. But try to go inward and figure that out, because that's never going to come from somewhere external. I just wanted to say that. That goes with relationships as well.
Yeah, I think
right?
it's important.
Because relationships will never answer anything. They will show you and trigger you and help guide you. So we have to welcome those in, and that's where we learn most in relationships, right? Be it family, partners, even people we work with, or business partners, right? Like even Lucy and I, as sisters, we learn in a certain way, but also as, business partners, we also learn in different ways, and we help each other. So, yeah, I wanted to say that because I think a lot of times also this whole relationship thing that people are going through is because they don't have clear what they're looking for.
That's exactly what you're right. That's what I said to you. Well, I was talking about relationships. We were talking about life. I was like, yeah, that's not confirming for you. It's like we were looking for a specific place for Lorena to live, right? And so I was like, Lorena, I don't think it's happening because the universe doesn't know you actually want it, because you don't actually know if you want it. You just want that opportunity or the possibility to be there. I'm like, I bet as soon as you decide it, the opportunity can open up, and you're like, yeah, I think maybe you're right. I think I might want that. And then the next day you got a message semi-confirming that kind of scenario we were looking for you. So you still didn't say that's definitely what I want. It's, I think you're right. I think I do want that. I think I need to do that.
But even then, I'm just like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know.
It's so funny to see, because you can see me going, okay, I'm gonna do this.
Lucy is so certain. Like this is, and I talk to people about this, and yeah. Imagine, just I'm gonna just throw it out there. Imagine being in that energy constantly. It's funny, and I'm not like that with other people. When somebody wants something, I'm like, yeah, I'll help you do that. This is fine. We're gonna figure it out. I'm so certain. But when it's internal to me, there's a part of me. I don't know where this is. I'm gonna have to work through that a little bit deeper.
Are you scared to make a mistake?
There is perfectionism and making a mistake and failing, I think, in
I'm so
certain things.
I'm bad with that, in the sense that
I'm
like,
much better than I was like. Even
no, I mean, I'm bad with that
ago.
where, like, even at a job, they'll be like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, I'm not perfect and I don't want to be. So, like, some bosses will, like, really like me because I'm really good. I'm a really good worker. But when they come and say this, I'll be like, yeah, I'm not a perfectionist. Never told you I was. And I don't plan on being in the future. I'm happy with the way I am. Like,
I'll try, my best.
It's so hard to be a perfectionist.
It's the worst. It really is the worst.
You're never content.
This is what we were actually just talking about a few minutes ago. Being that perfectionist energy, you literally procrastinate the heck out of life.
It makes you procrastinate.
Yeah. You procrastinate everything.
Because you're perfectionist.
Yes.
Where's that? I don't get it.
Because it's easier not to start something when you know you're going to probably fail at it.
Damn.
Because it's never going to be perfect.
Wow, that's severe.
You should do it my way. You're like, I'm going to do it. I might fuck it up. I'm doing it anyways. No, like today I'm better at it, right? Today I'm a lot better at it.
You know what I've realized that I'm good at? Like, seeing how different you are to me, it makes me realize the way I am. It's weird, right? Like, you know
same thing for me. Yeah.
I realize that I'm really good at asking for help. Or playing like, hey, you want to help me out?
Oh, I'm so bad at that.
I can't figure this out. Maybe you can help me figure this out. Like, I'm really good at like,
oh, you're so good at that.
I'll ask you right away.
Yeah, I'm bad at that. Like, even I got people say, hey, do you need help with this? I'm like, oh, I'm fine.
Can you give me some what points, or do you have a contact for me? Like, I'll right away outsource.
It depends on the kind of help you're asking for.
Not disempowering outsource.
No. Depends on the kind of help you're asking for. When I feel like somebody's going to go out of their way, out of their day to do something where I'm like, oh, don't worry, it's fine. Another thing's like asking somebody for advice. That's different. Yeah, that's easy for me. I can totally do that. And I have no problem being like, I know nothing. I need your advice. I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, that's fine.
But some people can't do that.
Yeah, some people can't do that.
Some people can't actually, what's the word? Recognize that they don't know. They can't.
It's an ego thing.
Yeah.
And that's probably a lot of conditioning too, from a young age, right? Of feeling like you had to know, you had to figure it out. There's so much pressure on you, probably.
But you'd be surprised how many people actually want to help you when they realize that you don't know it 100%. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, don't worry, okay, I'll walk you through it," or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's if you're in the right energy, the right people will show up to help you.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got a little off topic.
Yeah, dude.
Bringing ourselves back.
It's a good off topic.
No, I love it.
It's a needed off topic.
Yeah, this is good. I love going into these.
So did you go through all your notes about Venus?
I'm going to say a few more things. For me, at least, I took a few notes, but also I'm going more into the Akashic kind of energy. To me, this retrograde can bring up, we were talking about triggers. It feels like probably fears and things that we have to work through.
Yeah, and I heard one person talking about this Venus retrograde thing, and they said it could look like someone from your past showing up, or it could be you having to go to somebody in your past for whatever, because you need to have a discussion, or you need assistance, or you need
to close something,
or you need to close a chapter, or just this one thing was pending a conversation. Like, it could look like you being the one that goes back for a specific reason, and that's okay.
Yeah,
we're not talking about starting something up. We're talking about there needs to be some sort of interaction again, or one that maybe it's not you doing the interacting. Maybe that person comes to you and they're like, hey, by the way, this one thing. Okay, great. Or it could be that they want to talk about something that just happened years ago, and they just, for some reason, they need to close it up.
Mm-hmm. And I think also notes that I took here is Venus retrograde is kind of here to show us how life can change. And that was a little bit of what I was saying earlier of it's like reevaluating what we expect our life to be, getting out of the ego expectation and starting to go more into desire. So how your life can change when you open yourself up to love and just your emotions, right? Because I think there's a bit of all of this becoming a little bit more vulnerable during this time, really being real with our emotions, really releasing, letting go, reviewing things, like you said, past relationships, seeing what role we played in them, or where there's stuff that we still have emotionally to work through, so we don't repeat it, so we don't have to go through it necessarily in the same way. Sometimes we do get tested, like I say, but and I think a lot goes into what you were saying, Lou, like maybe it is about you putting up boundaries and saying, I no longer will stand for this, and this, and I will only accept this in my life right now, especially when it comes to relationships. We put up those boundaries. Yeah. We accept or we don't. So that could be loving partner, like business partners, your work, coworkers, family. Yeah, like all of that. That's all of that.
Any type of relationship. Those are all relationships.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think this will hit people differently, but see how it shows up for you. I think this episode was more also about you being able to figure that out for yourself.
We've already seen it reflect in our lives. And it's not fully active now, but like you said, it shows up a few days before. We've already picked up on it. Be like, oh, that's what this is.
Yeah. Yeah. And you'll definitely feel it days before.
Yeah.
So once this episode's out, it'll be, what day will it be? So it'll be Monday. We said it starts on the 22nd, and this episode comes out on the 24th. So, yep, we'll be in full force by then.
Yeah. So then the reason why I went to this episode, because the conversation was about that, everything we just said. And then I said, oh my goodness. And I was like, I can see the reflection in the cosmic information. And I always, you guys know that I'm obsessed with the cosmic information, the galactic updates, and where we are in the 3D to 4D to 5D, which is all this that, right? And I was like, I know that last year I was talking about this, and I can't remember if it was on a podcast episode or what. I'm pretty sure there was at some point, if not on the Patreon, in our membership group. But I remember speaking about how karma, so we're in karma, right? We talked about this so many times, what karma is. Last episode, we literally talked about karma. And so karma is something that you experience in 3D, in this reality that we're in, that we're leaving. What does that mean? That means that when you begin your shift, when you begin to let go of the 3D and you start creating the changes and you do all these things you're supposed to start moving into 5D energy, you slowly begin to drop that karma. So it closes up for you, and then you begin to live in what they would call dharma. So dharma is like positive. It's like all the amazing things that you let out into the world and all those incarnations that your soul did, but especially this one now, what you're doing right now, it's going to reflect when you go into 5D. So you're going to be creating a reality that's not tied into pending relationships, pending cycles with people, things that I have to like reevaluate again. No, it's all about you aligning with your true self. And then I did a whole episode. I don't know if you didn't hear it, but
I'm going to have to listen to it this week.
It's a really good episode. I did a really good episode. I literally launched it a few days ago on our membership portal. And the episode for this month was about how we're leaving our 3D personality, or I call it character, and how we're going into the 5D form, which is actually our soul or higher self, its personality. I explain it, what the cosmos calls it, what the universe calls it. I explain the whole process, everything. But literally part of that also is interacting with people around you from that 5D personality, from the real you personality, from the higher self personality. And so that means there is no karma, it's only dharma. And so that what that means, in other words, in reference to what we've been talking about in this episode, is cycles of relationships are ending. So toxic relationships, limiting relationships, all those things are closing its chapter because you're leaving karma, you're going into dharma. And in this case, Venus is helping us do that. It's making us go retrograde. It's making us go back and maybe close portals, reflect inside everything we've been saying. So it's helping us close doors and cycles so we can begin to walk into that 5D energy and kind of live from a place of more alignment and what I really want and what I really deserve and what I'm really going to start creating, co-creating. What do I really want? So we're leaving behind toxic relationships. And again, I'm not just talking about partnerships. We're talking about everything we just said. Families, everything, all types of relationships. We have to leave behind the toxic traits because that's a 3D
But that
experience.
also means healing it.
Yeah.
Because one thing is you turning around and running away from it. Another thing is you healing it so that you can leave it behind.
Yeah.
It feels like that
It's
energy.
like almost like another word to say. It's like happily closing it up and leaving it behind.
Acceptance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Acceptance. Cause,
Knowing that that's going to bring in something so much better and more aligned for you and something that you really, really align with and deserve. But so I was saying this last year, it's where they're gonna see a lot of breakups. You're gonna be a lot of separations. You're gonna see a lot of either it could be relationships as in partnerships breaking up or divorces. You could also see a lot of families kind of going different ways. And this is part of that, leaving the karma and going into dharma. So it no longer suits you to have that toxic relationship. Maybe that person also created their shifts. And you can, so that's another thing. It doesn't mean that everyone's going to break up with their current partner.
Yeah.
I don't want everybody to freak out, like, oh no. No, it could, the other option is, let's say in reference to your partnership, like the person you live with and you share life with, right? Whether you're married or just living together, whatever. Let's say that you're in the middle of that and you guys are still going through karma. It could mean also you guys close up that cycle and then it's almost like the relationship is revisited in a way where then we decide we want to stay together, but we no longer stay together in that same toxic way that we used to interact with each other. It changes. That might mean like you guys have a conversation and somehow you understood each other. That might mean maybe you spent some time away from each other and then came back. It doesn't matter how it shows up for everyone. It's going to be different, but it doesn't mean that everyone's going to break up their partner. It just means that toxic ways of interacting with each other has to come to an end if you're going into 5D.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's just really what the energy is pushing us to do is heal ourselves.
It's setting us up for that.
Yeah.
That's why we're talking about it.
That's all it's about.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's the message I get. And remember, I don't know, this is just my own message here through the records, I guess. It's kind of like, it's always about us. Anything we see reflected back in a relationship, a person, doesn't matter what kind of relationship, it's showing us something within ourselves.
And so many times you're in the middle of it.
It's so
like,
hard
why?
to see it when you're in it.
Why is this happening right now?
Hard.
I thought I was doing so good. Why is it showing up right now?
And then we get into the victim role. Why did I attract? Like, what's wrong with me? Like, why I don't deserve this.
Literally this week I had this scenario where I'm like, why is it showing up right now? I was doing so good. Mm-hmm. And then I look at my phone, it's like 333. I'm like, shut up, universe. They make no sense. This makes no sense. And then after 2-3 days, it finally made sense. I was like, oh, that's why. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
But when you're in the middle of it, it's just so hard to accept it.
It is hard.
It's so hard to see beyond that. And especially if you're in your mode of like survival, panic, fight or flight, anger, low vibrational feelings, like it's so hard to see past that. But the way that I felt better was just like by seeing the phone. I know the universe was like, Lucia, calm down. There's a reason. And I'm like, oh, I'm never going to fix this. This is never going to be solved. Oh my God. But I got through it.
Yeah.
I got through it. And I kind of see the purpose now.
Yeah.
No, I see the purpose now.
You see the
take
purpose
out the word
now.
kinda.
No, we already talked about this. Like,
yes.
Come on. Come on now.
This is Lorena slapping me in the face, not the universe.
Yeah. No. Okay. But yeah, I think really also going back to the retrograde energy, it's time to focus on us
Things
as
are
individuals.
going
Doesn't matter
quicker.
in what situation you're in. It's time to during the next couple of weeks, lots of weeks actually. If we're talking about September, like not 2 months, but a month and something, right? It really is about focusing on your needs and yourself and taking care of yourself in every sense, from taking it slower. And I think that allows us to do our healing. Because if we're in that toxic energy, we're in the arguments, we're in the back and forth, how do you heal? You can't.
It's really hard.
You
can't. You're in
very hard.
You're just, that would be kind of like either victim or survival mode.
Yeah.
And that's when you're victim role. And that's what I was trying to make sure, like when I was in the middle of it, I made sure never at any point to feel victim. I was like, where can I solve this? How can I solve this? How can I solve this? I kept trying to look for solutions, but it was like, I was trying not to let myself get into victim role. I might have fallen into a little bit. I'm like, but like you end up, if you make sure and check yourself not to go into victim role, you can get out of it quicker, I think. That's what I believe.
Yeah. Also, when I want to go back into the Venus energy, because that is feminine power.
Yeah, it's true.
That is the feminine power. I very much feel connected to Venus. I have a lot of Taurus in my chart. Like I said, my Venus is in Taurus.
Yeah.
But it brings me back, because I'm just going to quickly talk about this because it feels like it's something I may bring this person on to talk about. We had it was probably an hour and a half long conversation about the feminine energy, which we all have within ourselves regardless of what gender you are. And more of this feminine energy of how sometimes we can think that if we go into our feminine that we just empower ourselves, or that we're not. So I think it's interesting what you're saying, because I know exactly what you're going through, obviously, because I'm your sister. I'm living it with you here. But also how I'm starting to think more about going more into my feminine energy of saying, how can I soften? How can I start to go more into my emotions? How can I ask for help? Mm-hmm. How can I, because that's the energy that heals, right?
Yeah.
And I bring that to my readings, I bring that to my clients, but how do I bring that to myself?
Yeah.
To ourselves, right? All of us, anybody listening.
Yeah.
Because that is bringing that loving, powerful energy, because that energy is powerful.
Yeah.
And we all need to go into that in some way or another at some point, because it has to be this ebbing and flowing of masculine and feminine in our lives. There's moments we're more in one and others in another, but we have to have both.
I love how, like, what you say from a more astrologer point, right away I'm like, oh yeah, that's the cosmic information. We're going into 5D, which is also, we don't have that duality contrast anymore. When you go into 5D energy, it's the meshing, the perfect meshing of both, integrating it into one. And we're going back into, like,
great.
Yeah, so we're not supposed to live. It doesn't mean that in 5D because I think people's images of 5D are like, everybody agrees with everything all the time. No. There's totally different opinions in 5D energy as well, but there's not that massive, like, polar opposites.
Yeah, like
that duality that we have here.
Yeah, duality, or just like, the polar opposites. Like,
it's like 5D energy.
Polarity.
Like polarity. Yes. That's right. That's a good word. It's 5D is more like we grab both and we mesh it into one, and we stay in the middle of those.
It's all synchronized. It's all coexisting, and it's beautiful, ebbing and flowing, and back and forth, and up and down, right?
So how does that look in a relationship, since we're talking about Venus, and we talked about leaving karma and living in dharma? It means your partner's still going to have some stuff, or your family member, or your whatever is still going to have stuff that maybe doesn't fully align with you, and you have stuff that, but somehow you guys find a way to compromise or mesh together, where we both understand each other, we find a nice middle. That becomes much more of a common thing, or we get better at doing it than we used to before. Because before it was a toxic way where I impose my way on you, and you impose your way on me, and then we'll just fight it out or something. Right? It's that heavy, the heavy, like, duality, that's what we're leaving behind, and we're going into the meshing into the nice middle center of it. But also the resonance or the vibration of where you are with your own lessons is going to allow you to attract something that's in the middle with you. So that person that you're attracting next is going to have that nice energy of being in the middle and being in a neutral place. Neutral, that's the word. We have to live from neutrality in 5D. That doesn't mean we're not going to see crappy things happening, or like awful
or that
things.
we won't feel emotions or get triggered. It's not that, but it's we can deal with it differently.
Yeah, you react from a place of neutral, and you kind of live in that place. You live in more neutrality than anything else. That's what 5D is.
I literally imagine it as if it's like all these people working on their healing in unison. Yeah. And we're all one.
Just not cult-like.
No, like we're all one energetically. Like we all can connect, and I can vibrate, and I can understand what you're feeling, and I can have compassion and empathy for that, and I can hold space for you, and you can do the same for me, and we can understand each other even though we might not have gone through the same thing.
Like, it's also like bumping into the right person when you're going through something. That person goes, I see what you're going through. I did that last year.
Synchronicity,
this is this, and this. And you're like, oh my God, thank you for crossing my path. I have no idea where you came from. Yeah. But for some reason, the way you said it and the time that you said it was perfect.
Yep.
Like things like that.
Yeah.
We've had emails and like messages from people being like, I randomly bumped into this person and they said this one thing, and I don't know, like, there's these really crazy stories of people where they're like just surrendering to the day and letting the day flow, and then this one person bumps into their day.
That's never a coincidence.
No.
Ever.
No, never.
No, at all. So yeah, all right.
I think it was really interesting to talk about how like all the astrologers that are saying this, because this is not new information. People are hearing about Venus retrograde and the eras we're going through it. But this is happening when the nodes thing is happening. So it's very, very
the changing
significant.
of the nodes to Aries and Libra.
You know more about that. I don't know that much about
Scorpio, I believe, right? Yeah. No, I don't know that much about it, but it's changing a lot.
So I think
we can try to talk about that on another episode, because I think it could be interesting for us to. Because I like what we do these episodes. Like we get the information we need.
Yeah.
And then we put our Akashic spin on it, right?
Yeah.
And our cosmic spin on it.
Yeah.
And I really like that. So maybe we can do something like that very soon, because it's a huge change. It's a huge shift.
For me, like the way I've been living it is, if you were to ask me, do you have it all sorted out? I do not have everything sorted out. But what I do know is every time I feel something, if I feel it really deeply, I'm like, I'm not sure how this is going to work out. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do this. But I know that I have to do this. Mm-hmm. And then I just do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting. Also, I always talk about how, like, Lou always kind of paves the way for things.
We've been seeing it a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
A lot. Which has been really, really... It's so different seeing it in person, you know what I mean? Than from so far away. So,
because that's happening from a more material place because I'm here.
Yeah. But I think also let other people inspire you. I mean, if Lou and I are an example in any way, like who in your life inspires you, like surround yourself by those people, like with those people that push you to be a better version of yourself, that push you to heal, that push you to like grow and expand. Like I think also this Venus energy, this Venus retrograde is like, who do you choose to share your energy with? Right? Obviously work on your own energy, because that will attract those people, but you know, we have to have a say in that as well. Like, who do we let in?
Yeah.
Who do we allow to share that energy with? It's a blessing to be able to do that, but also be careful with who you allow in, because it could be draining your energy.
Yeah, who you spend your time with can really make or break the success that you've been really hard working on to clear things out. And then you're going to let your free time be spent with somebody whose energy is low, and then you just might be lost a whole month, year of work.
Yeah.
So it's important, you know, as long as they're genuine in heart and they're not in a really toxic place, you're probably okay. But just double check.
Yeah, it's just a time to
who you're spending your energy with, not time. Who are you spending your energy with?
Yeah, energy is time. Time is
energy. I know, but I'm just in another way, because it could be 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You only have 5 minutes in the day you're spending with that person. Who are you spending that energy with, right?
Yeah.
And maybe it's not in person. Maybe it's just over the phone.
And then if you find that you're attracting a lot of people that are draining your energy or taking that energy from you, then it's what boundaries you need to put up. Why are you attracting that? It's time go inward. Yeah, that's happened to me too.
Oh my God.
Go inward and just start looking at that.
You have to just stop it in its tracks and go, you're not getting any more of my thoughts. You're not getting any more of my time. And I'm going to do what I have to cut this off right here.
Yeah. It's boundaries.
I'm thinking about that even like as a business person, like you've as somebody that works for themselves, there are times where you're like, I can help you up to here, but I can't do any more work for you, right? Like, or
I put up a post the other day on my Instagram, right? That said, somebody had reached out to me, and I always tell people, reach out, let me know what's going on. You know, we love that, especially when we talk about certain topics on the podcast, like what's going on? Is anybody resonating with this? Like, why are we feeling called to talk about this? We want to know who it connects with, right? Yeah. But somebody reached out to me, and they were talking about how they felt stuck because they have this urge to help others, to be of service, but they were getting in their own way. And the message that I got for this person was, you're not there to fix everything. Take that pressure off. Like, no one's asking you to do that. And I think we have to, as healers and anybody in the service space, doesn't matter if it's spiritual or not, you're not there to fix everything. No. And if anyone's made you believe that, even a client coming forward, it's like, that's not your role.
Yeah.
That person probably, I can almost guarantee, has some kind of issue with their own family. Because usually it's people that are still looking to their children, or looking to their parents to have done things differently. They're still like asking for things. So then they tend to be people that ask for too much outside. Oh. They didn't get enough, or they got too much. So it's a weird kind of like balance.
One of the imbalances.
It's an imbalance, right? So generally, if we tended, in our infancy or growing up to have been given, and always expected to be given extra, be it love, physical touch, emotional, it could have been physical, like material things.
Yeah.
When we move out of that, depends. This isn't the case for everybody, but a lot of times we'll expect that from everybody else outside of us.
So that makes sense.
There's a lot of back and forth, right? There's a compensation in everything. And when we didn't get enough, those are the people that tend to be people pleasers. Mm-hmm. We tend to give too much because we feel like there's something that was missing. We didn't get enough. We weren't worthy. So we're always giving, and it's really hard to receive.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how when we start to maybe observe that in ourselves, I think this is probably a good time to look at this, probably why it's coming up in this Venus retrograde, is, do you find it hard? I'm going to do a little video on, I'm probably going to do it on my Instagram, so make sure you follow, and I'll share it on the Soul Tribe podcast, of a little exercise we did in class the other day of how to tell if it's, and a lot of us will probably already instinctively know it, obviously, but this really cool, very easy exercise you can do in like 30 seconds, 40 seconds. I'm going to do a little video so people can just watch it, and you can do it with me. And basically one side of your body will have the energy of receiving, the other one of giving, and then you close your eyes, you connect your body to the field, and you see how each side feels. And it's so interesting.
How is it going to feel like? One's going to feel like it has less than the other one?
Let's do it now. Why don't we do it now? So everybody, obviously if you're driving, don't close your eyes. But the idea here is for all of us to just close our eyes. If you're sitting, putting your feet.
Grandma would say, receive money or documents with the left hand.
I'm going to do it backwards. This is different.
And then you have to give with the right hand.
No, we're going to receive with the right and give with the left.
But that just feels so wrong. Grandma never said that.
Well, that's Grandma. I'm doing it differently. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to close our eyes. You're going to find a nice, comfortable position. Ideally, you'd probably have your feet on the floor, on the ground. Probably not standing, sitting. Even sitting on the floor is fine, like crossing your legs. And we're going to open our hands up. So your hands are going to be open on each side, one on your left and one on your right. The idea is for your hands to be facing up. And we're going to just connect to our body and close our eyes and take a nice deep breath in. Maybe even scanning the body, connecting to every inch of our body from the top of our head to the tips of our toes. Breathing, connecting to any emotions, just fully becoming present in our body, in the moment, in the here and the now. And the idea here is that your right hand is the energy of receiving. Your left hand is the energy of giving. And just sitting with this, we're going to do about 20, 30 seconds, just feeling into that energy of giving and receiving and seeing what comes up in your body. Okay, and slowly opening your eyes. Maybe even observing your hands to see what they look like for some. And I've heard people say that one of their hands closed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, ours are kind of semi-closed.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they should be like this. They're like this.
Oh, I never do that. That's unnatural.
But
So
I want to
open.
say this. For me, and it's the same, I did this exercise 2 days ago or 2 nights ago, and I get the same sensation
What is
still.
it? Tell
It's
me.
my right hand feels heavy as if I had a rock in it, Lucia as well. My left hand feels like I just feel vibration, movement. I just feel like it's pouring out. It's fine. It doesn't feel stagnant. My right hand feels very stagnant.
Yeah.
Yeah, the receiving's hard. I mean, I even said that too. It's hard for me to ask for help, right?
Oh, I feel different. Mine feels like heavy, but I'm like ready to bring it on in.
Oh, you feel like that? Okay.
I feel like I've been working very hard on my programming and realizing that I'm limiting myself, and whatever doesn't come to me, it's because I'm stopping it. It's not the universe. The universe is always, guys. Every time you're in a really crappy scenario, remember the universe is packed and full of abundance, enough for everyone.
Everyone.
Just because you want more doesn't mean you're leaving anybody with less.
Yes.
The universe is packed with abundance, and I've been.
And you know what?
working on these
Something I'm trying
programs.
to drill into my being, because it's not my brain. I want to understand it in an intellectual level. It's a lot of people are like, well, when you have money, it's think of the beliefs around having money or abundance, whatever kind of abundance you're looking for. For some people, it might be freedom. For some people, it might be time. Some people might be just doing what they want to do. Some people might be money. I think
freedom. I think.
But
the word
if we
is
talk about
most
money
common.
specifically, it's you having that money will provide opportunities for you to help and do things for people.
Yeah.
That I think a lot of times isn't just about the money. It's what the money can give you. It can give you the time. It can give you the freedom. It can give you that openness to explore. If it is traveling that makes you happy, you'll be able to travel. Like,
But I want to make sure that nobody believes that because you're trying to bring in more, you're limiting anyone else.
yeah, I think that's that could be a belief.
The universe, yeah, definitely. The universe is packed with abundance. You have just been programmed to not open that portal of abundance in. So, what have I been saying the whole week, Lorena?
Yeah.
The universe pays my bills. I keep saying that. You can ask Lorena, guys. Every time I talk about, oh, I had to pay this for, the universe pays my bills. The universe pays my bills. I don't worry about it. The universe pays my bills.
Well, anyway, with the exercise, the idea was to feel into your body to see where if there was any stagnation or heaviness, or if you felt the vibration or flowing in your body, like it could tell you stuff. And you probably already know it intuitively, but it's nice to see how your body reacts to it, because your body, and this is where I tell people, when we do healing, it's through our body. Our body needs to be involved. It can't be our mind. It needs to be us in an open, receptive energy. Otherwise, healing will become that much harder, or it just doesn't flow.
But mine did feel heavy, but in a good way. Like I didn't feel like it was heavy, like it's stuck.
No,
I
mine
felt heavy,
didn't.
like it's allowing things to come in finally.
No, for me it felt like I can't grab what I need to because there's something already in my hand, and it doesn't feel good.
My ear was beeping even on that side.
Interesting. See, those are the things you need to observe. Like, interesting. Maybe that's a part of your healing that you need to work on, of being more receptive to asking for what you want or receiving.
Don't I ask? I think I asked for everything I want.
I mean, receiving. We're talking about receiving big things, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I have to evaluate that. I will get back to you.
Yeah, this isn't for us to have.
I will definitely get back to you on that
the
one.
lamp's gonna fall.
Oh no, the cable.
Yeah, careful. Lucy almost knocked down the lamp. Is that a sign? I'm not sure.
You know how many times I told her off for doing that?
Oh, God.
Don't tell her I did that.
Yeah, I will not. Don't worry. Anyway, just to observe it could have been, even a vision you got while you were there. You could have felt things. You could have felt something in your hand. I don't know. Try it out on your own as well. I think not just on this recording.
Yeah. Thank you for that exercise.
Yes, you're most welcome. And before we go, I want to remind everybody that we still have our Akashic Record course sale running. So it's 20% off our Akashic Records Level 1, Akashic Records Level 2, and soul contracts in the Akashic Records. I'll link everything below. There's going to be a link where you have access to the discount code. You will have to put the discount code in your checkout. So when you check out for the course, put the discount code. I want to say a few things here because I've gotten a few questions in the last few days, actually. These courses are self-paced. You own them. So once you buy them, they're yours forever. You can redo them all the times that you want. You get access with level 1 and level 2 to our Facebook group. And I think the main thing with level 2...
And you have a manual.
And you get a manual for each course, which is awesome. So some of you might want to just read through the manual and then do the videos. There's lots of video content. And you obviously have our support through either of all 3 of the courses, really. But a lot of people were asking, like, is there a specific time? Like, no, this is all self-paced.
Yeah.
You do it at your own pace. You do it at your own time. You can do it as fast or as slow as you want. And each level 1 and level 2, they each have their own kind of period of you practicing.
Yeah.
So especially with level 2, we try to support people as much as we can. This is where I would encourage a lot of people, if you have done level 2 with us and you haven't joined the community, to come join, because a lot of people are coming onto the community for that support aspect of, I need to practice. I want people that are open and that I can practice on.
And I know for a fact that there's no other course like this one out there.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact.
It's pretty good.
And I'm not saying it because I want everybody to sign up. I'm saying it because I really know that. Like, I deeply know that. Because we created it. We worked really hard for it. And we gathered a lot of experience and information in it. So, and like Lorena said, you don't have to absorb it in 1 day or 2 days.
Gosh,
you can slowly watch it. You'll have access to it forever.
Take notes, ask questions.
Go back and whatever you need. Yeah. That, good. And then I just wanted to remind everybody, because at one point I talked about it, the last episode I did on our membership community, it's a really, really good episode. We're about to do our call where we
quarterly call,
our Zoom call with everybody that's there. So if you join fast, we're about to do it in a few days. But if not, you can get access to all the content that we've already put up on the membership community. The last episode I did was a really good one. Like, I didn't expect it to come out that good. It did. And it was all about the character that we play in 3D that our soul chose, but also how we're leaving that and we're going into the personality that is our divine self and our soul. You know, where that comes in with the cosmos and the universe, and, you know, how that's going to reflect out in our reality, but also how we're going to carry that for the rest of the dimensions.
Yeah, and obviously you get access to all the previous content, right, on our community.
Plus the chat where everybody's chatting with each other.
You can chat. We have, which soon, I believe at the end of this month or early August, I'm going to have a call specifically for email marketing to help people with their email marketing and their business. Yeah. So I'm setting that up right now.
But also, you don't have to be working as a therapist or anything, because we've gotten this already a few times where people think that, like, you have to have some sort of no practice or something. No, there's people in there that just want to, like, connect with this information more or want to talk about it more.
Yeah, or who feel like they're alone on their spiritual path because they don't have anybody to talk to these things about. Like, that's
we're even checking with each other, like, guys, I'm exhausted today, or angel numbers are popping everywhere. So, like, we chat about everything.
Yeah, we chat about everything. So it's just a community, basically.
It's a community with extra episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. So, yeah, also I have my sale still running until the end of the month as well. 20% off Akashic Record readings for my 1 hour and 1.5 hour readings. So I'll put that information on the show notes as well. And that's about it, I think. I don't think there's anything else we need to mention.
We got into some good stuff here, huh?
Yeah, I really like this episode.
Good episode.
It got into a lot of the emotional stuff that I'm passionate about.
And the universal stuff that I'm passionate about.
So it's all good. It's always finding, like, a happy medium, I think, in these days. Yeah. But
we're going to 5D in the middle, meeting in the middle arena.
Yeah. I think also, I'm going to point out, we're recording during the middle of the day.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
There's a different energy. We always record at night. So I think we need to start recording around, after lunchtime. Because I feel like I have more energy.
I'm a night owl.
I feel more inspired.
I'm better at night.
Yeah, I know. But I like this. I don't know. We'll switch it up. But yeah, we'll have everything linked in the show notes. And we will see you all next week with a new episode of the Soul Chart Podcast.
Bye, guys. Thank you.